Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
students, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, hello, students, can you hear me?
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me start. I think you can hear me. Okay, if you are not able to hear me, then please write in the chat that you are not able to hear me. Okay, so in that case, I will make some. Maybe I will restart and do something like that. But I think people are able to hear me. Okay, so now here today we are going to see the Indian standard of code, Indian standard bearing capacity theory. Okay, so that is IS code 6403-1981. Okay, and the equation is very similar to the earlier general bearing capacity theory. Only thing is here a factor W dash is multiplied. Okay, and this is for the water table effect. Okay, so if you see other things are very similar. So this gives the value of net ultimate bearing capacity, and it is CNC, SC, DC, IC plus Q into NQ minus 1, because minus 1 is because of this net. Okay, that's why this minus factor is there. Into SQ, DQ, IQ plus 0.5 gamma B and gamma S gamma D gamma I gamma W dash. Everything is very similar to a general bearing capacity theory, only the W dash factor is different. Okay. Now what is this W dash factor? So this W dash factor is actually takes into account the effect of water table. Okay, so how the value of W dash is fixed? This is how you do. If the water table is at or below a depth of df plus b measured from the ground surface, W dash is 1. That means, if you remember, I have earlier shown you that if you remember the earlier diagram I have shown you for the water table effect, df is the foundation depth. I will show you one diagram. Yeah, this diagram. This is df and this is b. So what it is saying that if it is below df plus b, if the depth, water table depth from the surface is df plus b, okay, in that case the w dash value will be 1. Okay, but compared to that, w dash value will be 1. But if the water table rises to the base of the footing or above 0.5, So in that case, the W dash, this I have not taken, W dash value will be 0.5. So in that case, W dash value will be 0.5. Okay. So W dash value will be 0.1. So in if the water table rises to the base of the footing or above, W dash value will be 0.1. That means if the water table, okay, if the water table go up to this, then or above this, it will be 0.5. Okay. Now what it is saying is that if the water table lies in between then the value is obtained by the linear interpolation. Now what do you understand by that? So when the water table is here or above, then it will be 0.5. When the water table is here or below this, then it will be 0.5 or 1. So in between it will has to be a linear interpolation. So you have to interpolate linearly. Okay, linearly means what you have to do. Suppose then I will take it. Then. So here this value is 0.5. Here this value is 1. Okay, from here to here. Okay, if this value is then in this case you have to interpolate in a linear manner. That means it will when the b is equal to, you can take like when the b equal to 0, it is 0.5. When the b equal to b, this difference is b, then it will be 1. W dash value will be 1. So accordingly you can do a linear interpolation. Okay, so it is very very easy way to look at it. Okay, so now so that is, I hope you understood what I'm telling you. Now if you see that is how the W dash factor will be taken care of. Now if you see the shear factor is given by Hansen and inclination factor is given by the basic use. Okay, so this is very, whatever the vector used by Hansen for the shear factor, whatever the factor given by inclination by the basic are used here. Okay, which I have already told you in the last class. Okay, and depth factor is given like this, which is unique to this case. So it will be DC 1 plus 0.2 df by b 10 45 pi by 2, and dq and d gamma will be 1 for phi value less than 10 degree, and dq and d gamma will be 1 plus 0.1 df by b into 10 45 plus pi by 2 for phi value greater than 10. Okay, so this is how dc dq d gamma value is calculated for I square. And when it is purely cohesive soil, these two factors will be not considered. Okay, so only thing which will be considered will be CNC, SC, DC, IC. Okay, and here NC 5.14, SC, DC, IC are the respective depth factor, self factor, depth factor, and inclination factor. Okay, I hope you understood it. Hello. Okay. Now, once this is done, okay, then I will go for the, actually this failure, different failure modes, I have given you idea of this in case of a Terzaghi theory, when I have given you two cases, when it is when it is when the relative density is very high, it is general shear failure, and when the relative density is less, it is local shear failure. I have given you an idea of that. So for the local shear, there is a phi dash and C dash value has been used, and corresponding to that, the bearing capacity factors are NC dash, NQ dash, and N gamma dash. Okay, so that is what two failure mode has been given by Terzaghi, but basic has given a very good general failure mode, and that's why everybody is using it. Okay, so that is, one is general shear failure mode, one is local shear failure mode, and one is punching shear failure mode. Okay, so when you look into this, first is the general shear failure. Okay, so what happens, what does not happens in case of general shear failure? Okay, so if you see here also, the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 is developed, it is bulging is happening here, and there is a very clear cut failure is happening, and after that it is coming back. Okay, this is how it is happening in a general shear failure. So here some of the points of the general shear failure are here is that the shear curve is the shear curve sorry, the load settlement curve is, in case of footing, is resting on a surface of dense soil or steep clay source. Pronounced peak and failure occurs at a very small strength. Okay, when it is very dense, the failure will happen in a very small strength, that is less than 0.5, less than 5%. Okay. Next is a loaded base on such soil sinks or tilts suddenly into the ground, showing a surface hue of adjoining soil. So when the failure happens, the failure happens very suddenly. That means once it reaches the optimum bearing capacity, then the failure will be sudden. So you can see suddenly the load is getting down. Now when it happens, the bulging of the soil on both the sides of the footing will be sudden. It will come up like this and this. Okay. The shearing strength is fully mobilized all along on the slip surface, and hence failure planes are well defined. So if you see in this case, general shear failure, all the failure planes are very, very well defined. If you see a experiment also, you can see that it is very, very clear. Okay. And the failure occurs at very small vertical strengths accompanied by a large lateral strength. So once the failure start, vertical strength is very less, but once the failure start, either it will shift to right or it will shift to left. Okay. So, and in those direction, in lateral direction, the strength become very high. Okay. So in this case, it is saying that when the ID value, the relative density is around 65%, more than 65%, then the general shear failure will be occur. N value will be 35, phi value will be greater than 36, and E value is 0.5. Now this N value is basically related to the SPD test. Okay, and this phi is the angle of internal friction, and E is the void ratio. When the void ratio is less than 0.55, at that time this type of failure occurs. And I advise you to please remember these four factors, because these are very important when you sit for any competitive exam. These equations will come into picture. Okay. Next is local shear failure. Okay, so if the local shear failure is like this, here also if you see the failure things are developed, but that they are not very clear. Okay, it will not be very clear and very well defined like the general shear failure. And if you see the failure also, it is happening like this. Now, I mean, it will go like this, it will increase, and again once the failure happens, then again gradually it will increase like this, again it will go like this. That means you cannot see a very clear failure point as in case of a general shear failure. So if once you make the diagram, then you will see that in some cases this is going like this. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to choose this one. The first failure is the local shear failure. Okay, and why this is increasing? The reason is that when you increase this, then failure zone is now transferred to the soil below it. Okay, so it is again taking care of the soil which is below it. So this is the bearing capacity of the soil below the earlier layer of soil. So that's why it is gradually increasing. Okay, that is the reason. So these are the points I want to tell you. So when load is equal to a certain value Q, okay, the foundation is movement is accompanied by a sudden jerk. Okay, the failure surface gradually extends outwards from the foundation. Failures start to localize spot beneath the foundation, migrate outward part by part, gradually leading to a failure. So in this case, if you see, both the criteria came into picture. Here the settlement will also happen, which will be excessive. Okay. So we have to decide when it is go beyond 10%, you have to stop the experiment. And according to the whatever the settlement is happening during that, whatever the corresponding value of Q is, that you have to take it as a bearing capacity. Okay. And shear strength of the soil is not fully mobilized along the planes, and the failure planes are not defined clearly. Okay. So shear strength in this case is not fully mobilized because the particles are not very dense to each other. So they are not able to take advantage of each other as a composite material. Okay. The next is the failure occurs at large vertical strain and very small lateral strain. Okay, so compared to the general shear failure, when the failure occurs small vertical strain and large lateral strain, in this case the failure happens large vertical strain and small lateral strain. Okay, so in this case most of the failure will happen in the vertical direction only. Finally, when you see that gradually it will shift to left or right, at that time this lateral strain will come into picture. Now in this case, if you see, the relative density value will vary from 15 to 65, 15% to 65%. It is a huge range. Okay, it is very difficult to tell. N equal to 10, earlier case it was 35, more than 35, it is N equal to SPT value N 10 to 30. Phi value is less than 30 and E value is greater than 0.75. Now, if you see, I want to show a small comparison. If you see, in case of phi, it was more than 36 degree. And this is less than 30 degree. Okay, so you can understand there is a very ambiguity, very big ambiguity when the phi value is between 30 to 36. Okay, so in that case you have to see, so we have to see other things to check whether whatever happened is local shear failure or general shear failure, but whether it is general shear local shear failure or not, because general shear failure is always when it is more than 36 degree. Basically, this confusion come into picture when you are trying to find the bearing capacity factor using the phi value, whether you are going to use the phi dash value or whether you are going to use the phi value. Okay. Okay. Then the punching shear failure. Okay. So, okay. So here, if you see, no, there is no such failure zone is developing anymore. Okay. It is just punching into the soil. Okay. So if you see the here, it is going like this. And this is very, very stiff. This line is very stiff. Compared to the local shear failure, it is very stiff. It is just go like this. Okay. So this is a failure, punching shear failure means there will be no heaving in both the sides. It will just go inside the soil. It's like that small liquid, small one fluid is there of high viscosity and you are punching something inside that. It will just penetrate. There will be no effect on the side. It's like that only. Okay. The loaded base sinks into the soil like a punch. Okay. The failure surface do not extend up to the ground surface. If it is any failure surface is there, it is not going up to the ground. That means it is not extensive. No heave is observed. Okay. Large vertical strains are involved with practically no lateral deformation. So whatever the deformation happens in the vertical direction also, there is no lateral movement. Okay. And failure planes are difficult to locate because there is no such failure, clear-cut failure plan is developed. Now, you may asking what is those values, what is the relative density, all these things. So whatever I have given in the punching shear, in the local shear failure, lesser one is the punching shear failure. It means if the If the relative density less than 15%, then it is punching shear failure. If the phi value is, if the and other factors which I am talking about, phi value is also very less. But those calculating those things are very difficult, because punching shear failure happens. Soil is you can imagine what is less than 15%. Okay, for that cases finding the phi value, finding other factors is very difficult. So we have only assumed one, the relative density as the criteria for punching shear failure. That means when this phi is less than 15%. Okay, so that is how you are going for it. Okay, and now I want to actually show you some uh, uh, some examples. Okay, so till now what we have done, I think mostly I have completed everything. Only 2-3 things are left. One is the what will be the case when the load is eccentric in nature. Okay, that is one case, and other is what will be the settlement criteria. Okay, that also I am going to give you. So there is 3 different criteria. One is elastic settlement, one is the settlement due to consolidation, other is settlement through the field experiment. How these 3 methods are used. Okay, another is whatever till now I have shown you, either the building through building code you are able to find the bearing capacity, or the bearing capacity through this theoretical methods. Okay, last one is the bearing capacity through the field test. Now what are these field tests? We have already discussed, or I already taught you about this field test in the soil site exploration chapter. That means one is that plate load test, which we have already taught. The materials has been given to you, and it has already come in the exam in the mid semester. So how you are going to find the settlement using the plate load test? Who is doing this now? Huh? Who is playing mischief now? Okay, anyway, next is how to and again using the cone penetration test, and another is the standard penetration test. All these tests has been taught, I have already taught you. So on the basis of that, how to find the bearing capacity. Okay, so those are all those empirical formulas, and which has been based on the your experience in the field. Okay. Experience of the engineers on the field. On that basis this has been done. Okay, now I will show you some examples. Okay, I think not much time is left, and 10 minutes is there. Okay, if you want to ask me some question, please can you ask me through the chat? I will really appreciate, because I am not able to hear anyone saying anything, so it is very difficult for me to say anything. Can somebody write something so like that? Oh, whatever I'm telling, are you able to understand, or something like that? Okay, anyway, I'm going to now discuss some problems with you, which on the basis of what we have In the next class, we are going to discuss both one the settlement criteria and one the finding bearing capacity using this established field test. Okay, one or two small example I wanted to show you. Okay. So hey, don't play it, yeah. Who is doing this? I'm telling you, if you're not able to understand me, tell me. I will repeat all these things. If you are not doing, you are playing the mischief now. Who is doing this? Okay. This let us go through this example. Okay. Calculate the ultimate bearing capacity of a strip footing 1 meter wide in a soil for a gamma equal to 18 kilonewton per meter cube, C equal to 20 kilonewton per meter cube, and phi equal to 20 degree at a depth of 1 meter. Use the Rankine and Bell's approach. Okay. So already Rankine means those already we have given in that earlier cases. So in that case, okay, let me no, it will confuse you. Let us go for only for the Terzaghi, okay, not Rankine. Okay, this is I think this will be okay. A continuous footing with a width of 2.5 meter heads 1.5 meter below the ground surface in a clay. The unconfined compressive strength of the clay is 150. Calculate the ultimate bearing capacity of the footing. Assume unit weight of the soil is 16 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay. So this is a purely clay soil. Okay. So only factor which will be matter to us will be NC. Okay. And phi value will be 0. And here the QU value is 150. So C value will be 150 by 2. So it will be 75. On confined compressor test, whatever Q value will get divided by 2 gives the C value. So this is 75. Now for phi equal to 0 value and gamma equal to 0 and Q equal to 1 and NC equal to 5.7. Okay. So so once you can use the formula which has been given in the Terzaghi case, and using that value you can get the value of NC, NQ and gamma. Okay. Now you can use that to and gamma value is 0 and equal to 1 and NC equal to 5.7. So when you use that, QL2 will be equal to CNC plus gamma dphi NQ, and when you put the value, this will be the value 451 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay. Another, I am going for a square footing. Okay. Here, if you see, what is the ultimate bearing capacity of a square footing resting on a surface of a saturated clay of unconfined compressive strength 100. Now, whenever it is giving unconfined compressive strength, now you should be very, you should know that C equal to this QU by 2. So C value is indirectly given to you. Okay. So in this case, C value will be 100 by 2. So it will be 50. Okay. So C value here given is 50. Now, in this case, it is a clay soil, saturated clay. So other factors will be neglected. So because this is square fitting, this factor which will be multiplied to this will be 1.3. Actually, I already taught you about it. Okay. So 1.3 CNC. So that's why it is give you 370 kilonewton per meter square. Okay. And here this phi value for this already Terzaghi for phi value equal to 0, NC equal to 5.7, and NQ equal to 1, and gamma equal to 0. Okay. So let us see another. This is another variety of question. Okay. So compute the self-bearing capacity of a square footing 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter located at a depth of 1 meter below the ground level in the soil of average density 20 kilonewton per meter cube. Phi equal to 20 degree, and C and Q and gamma value is given. Okay. So in this case, it is placed at a depth of 1 meter. So the QU value, the overburden pressure will be gamma into this factor 1. Okay. So the overburden pressure will be there. So in this case, if you see, Q alt will be, because this is square footing, this general formula will be used, which will be on all these factors what I told you already given. DF equal 1 meter. So 1.3 CNC, 0.4 gamma B and gamma G, gamma DF and Q. And NC and Q and gamma will already you have found. So that you have to use that case. Okay. So this is the 208 kilonewton per meter square. Now Q net will be what? It is Q alt. Now Q net alt will be Q alt minus the QU will overburden pressure. So that is gamma DF. So when you minus this one, 201 minus 20 into 1, this is 188 kilonewton meter square. Now what is the SEF? Now the question is what? The question is what is the SEF bearing capacity? Okay. So already on net bearing capacity you note. So assume a suitable subfactor of safety. Now that up to you. So you can assume a subfactor of safety. Suppose any factor of safety here you can use assume. So give me 1 minute. What is the value he assumed? He has assumed letters gamma. Okay, he has not given any factor of safety. Okay, yeah, he has taken a factor of safety of 3. Okay, so this is Q naught alt by gamma, and when it is when it is not the net value, it is like this. But when the gross self-bearing capacity means you have to just add the value of gamma df. Okay, and please don't do this mistake. Here gamma df, don't do gamma df by n. When the self gross bearing capacity means net self-bearing capacity plus gamma df. Okay, so this value, this thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, and the percentage reduction in self-bearing capacity means if you see how much value is happening, then for this year, in this case it is 41. Okay, and in this case this value, okay, this is the value, and when the water table is there, then this factors will be multiplied. So R gamma will be 0.5 and R will be 0.5. So this will be multiplied. So here if you can see, those factors has been multiplied. Okay, that RW1, RW2 I told you in this book there is different formula has been used. Some formula has been used, but the fact they look like different factors. Okay, but this is some only. So when you do that, this is the ultimate bearing capacity decreasing because of the water table effect. So Q alt net alt is 94. So when the water table is there, this is the value 42, 41, 42, and when the water table is not there, this is the value at 83. So there is a decrease in the bearing capacity, bearing capacity by 50%. Okay, that is what the question is all about. Okay, compared to the reduction in base of bearing capacity of the footing if the water table rises to the ground level. Okay, so this is how you will going to approach the problems. Okay, and maybe we can give you mostly will give you on the question from this Terjagi theory like that only. Okay. So So I am asking you if you have any question now, only 3 minutes is left. So I can, if you want to write, you can write also. This is the first time it happens. Never it happened that I always able to listen to you people. So this is the first time it is happening. I cannot stop it also because again, I don't know. Again, I have to restart everything from start. So, okay. So in the next class, I will start with the. I will discuss with you this extracting bearing capacity from the plate load test, cone penetration test, and the standard penetration test, and the settlement criteria. So I will going to finish this course within 2 class. Okay. If anything is left, then I will go you in a self-study. I will send you the PDF so you can go through that. But we'll do another 2 classes at the most. Okay. Okay, Hipin. I saw your chat. So okay. Next time we'll see that you should people should be able to say anything because I'm not able to listen what you are saying. Okay. So bye bye.